Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Ring Respect Radio. I am your host, the Real Bobby Munson. And Monday Night Raw has just wrapped. What did you guys think of Monday Night Raw? Let me know in the comments below. What did I think of Monday Night Raw? I thought it was a pretty good show, but let's give a little breakdown of what I thought here so you can better understand my points. So we started off the night with a John Cena promo talking about his road to WrestleMania. That is when the Miz Taraj come out, doing it a little bit of an interruption. Miz then talks about how he would match up better against Brock Lesnar. A little bit of back and forth between the two. Then this preposterous idea comes up that the two have this match, with the loser of the match having to enter the Elimination Chamber first. Now, I want to start off by saying that the match itself, Cena versus The Miz, was a great match to start off Monday Night Raw. I really enjoyed the actual match itself. Great performance by both individuals. My problem is with the stupid stipulation, because there's no stipulation on this where the winner gets a guaranteed spot, like they're going to enter at number 5 or something like that. So what happens if John Cena, who ends up winning here, causing The Miz to enter first, if John Cena enters second, it totally defeats the entire stipulation to begin with. Then there was no point in this stipulation, because the two guys who start first and second are essentially both starting first. That's how it works. So the whole point of starting second is pointless too. So if Cena starts second, now it defeats that whole thing. Now, granted, they're probably not going to start Cena second unless they're really just not paying attention to things as it is. But as it stands, it almost kind of, ruins that moment, because there was no point. If there would have been a guaranteed spot, the winner takes the 5th spot in the chamber, then boom, it would have made more sense. It would have had more consequence to the whole thing. Would have been better off, in my personal opinion. So the stipulation, a little bit silly. Miz ends up losing. He'll enter the chamber first. Nonetheless, we'll see what happens with Cena's position in the chamber in 2 weeks' time. Next, we had Anderson and Gallows taking on the Revival. Not a relatively long match by any means at all, but a good one nonetheless. Revival picking up the win with the Shatter Machine, getting a little bit of that heat back that they need going forward. Maybe they've had a little bit more faith put in them now that they've come back from injury. They've been eased back in. Maybe it's time for the rebuild of the Revival at this point in time. And that's what we got here with a strong Revival win. Then we got Kurt Angle coming out. He mentions that Ronda Rousey is going to be signing her contract with the Raw roster at Elimination Chamber, to which got a bunch of boos from the crowd tonight here too. So again, I want to know what people think. So also let me know in the comments below, what do you think about Ronda Rousey in the WWE? Are you on board with it? Are you against it? I've heard some people, are against it because she's an outsider, and the kind of push that she's going to be receiving very much could be, getting the Brock Lesnar type treatment in a sense. Not so much the whole scheduling as it is the being booked really strong, with the possibility with Paul Heyman as a manager. Again, these are all just rumors at the moment, so we don't really know where it's going to go. We don't know how things are going to turn out for Ronda Rousey. I mean, we need to give time for it to play out before we start forming these opinions. So hopefully they know what they're doing. Hopefully something will unfold about her direction for WrestleMania as of the signing at Elimination Chamber. So look forward to that, seeing where that's all going to break down and how that's going to go. From there, Kurt Angle mentions about Jason Jordan's neck surgery, so hopefully Jason get better. Nobody wants to see somebody go through something like that anyway. So neck surgery, get better, recover soon, Jason. Hope to see you back sometimes shortly. Seth Rollins then interrupts Kurt Angle, and he comes out and he wants an opportunity at the top of the hour to have his chance to book his time at Elimination Chamber. Now, this opportunity is eventually given to him. I should explain that there is already a Fatal 4-Way that was being placed, a second chance Fatal 4-Way. This would have been taking place at the main event of Raw, where the winner of that out of the 4 guys who didn't move on to the Elimination Chamber, or 4 of the guys that didn't move on to the Elimination Chamber, in Matt Hardy, Apollo Crews, Bray Wyatt, and Finn Balor, were going to be battling it out for a chance to take that last Elimination Chamber spot. Meanwhile, Seth comes in, inserts himself into that mix. It's now going to be a fatal 5-way at the top of the night. So Seth now getting a chance to be able to join the Elimination Chamber for his opportunity to go on to WrestleMania to fight Brock Lesnar. After this, we had a match between Sasha and Bayley. Great match. We know that these two have great chemistry inside the ring, work really well together, so it's almost better when they work together as foes. The best friends thing's been a little played out, and we know they're best friends. That's wonderful. That's great. But as foes and bitter rivals, from a show standpoint and from a wrestling fan standpoint, Bayley and Sasha make for good in-ring foes. And it was shown in this matchup here and can be proven on a bigger stage in longer matches as well, too, as we saw in NXT as well. So I think that the two of them, given the right opportunity and the right feud with each other, could really work some magic. So I'm looking forward to see where it goes. Who could possibly turn heel? I mean, there is that possibility. They keep showing signs of it being Sasha, but, there is some chance that they could pull a swerve and have Bayley turn heel. Hard to say which one it would be for sure. Sasha would be the obvious choice, and we know she can work it. If we, for any of us who have watched NXT and seen her work the heel angle in NXT, Bayley would be a surprise one. Where they would go from it, who knows? But I guess we'll wait and see how that plays out. Bayley picking up the win here. She got it with a Bayley to belly from the middle rope. Great spot. So anyway, that's the way that one goes. Bayley picking up the win. Afterwards, her and Sasha with a bit of stare down before Nia Jax comes, lays waste to both women, and then says that, she laid waste to both of them in a matter of moments when, the both of them individually took Asuka to her limit. So Nia trying to reiterate that she is going to be able to end the streak of Asuka at Elimination Chamber in 2 weeks. Surprising to see Asuka not present on the show here tonight too. So again, here's somebody that they're trying to build up, and I'm not too sure the reason that Asuka's been kept off of Monday Night Raw. I know in our local house show on Friday night here in Saskatoon, we didn't see Asuka there either. So is there something up? Is she busy? I'm not too sure. Haven't really looked into it, so if you guys know, let me know. It'd be interesting to find out why Asuka wasn't present there tonight. They did, however, play a video package about Asuka's streak, though, and a great package it was, because it explained in detail, how long the streak has gone on, how many days, the different types of opponents she's had, and the statistics of the opponents that she has faced, about how many championships they've won between them, how many different countries people have been from that have taken Asuka on in this current run that she's had while she's been undefeated as well. So very interesting to see them play it. But again, are they playing it because they're foreshadowing the fact that they would dare to end this streak at Elimination Chamber with Nia Jax? And then one other thing I've got a question too is, okay, Ronda Rousey is signing with Raw. So presumably if she ends up going after the women's champion, it's going to have to be on the Raw side. Who that's going to be, we're not sure. I'm assuming Alexa Bliss is going to go into WrestleMania as the women's champion. Yet to be seen, as we, have the women's elimination chamber coming up. But I think at this point, I would have to say it's safe to say that Alexa Bliss is going to come out of that victorious. But what happens next? Do they dare to have Nia Jax beat Asuka at Elimination Chamber and have herself go on into a triple threat at WrestleMania? Well, at the same time, Asuka has not exactly selected her opponent. She hasn't said she's fighting the Raw Women's Champion. So could we be seeing a little bit of foreshadowing for the fact that Asuka would then go on to challenge Charlotte over on the SmackDown side? Meanwhile, Ronda Rousey get locked up into something with Alexa Bliss over on Raw. Who knows? We also need to wait and see what happens with the contract signing of Ronda Rousey to really see this all unfold, to get a clearer picture for WrestleMania. Next up in action, we saw it was Absolution, the team of Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, taking on the team of Mickie James and Alexa Bliss. Alexa said that she had asked Kurt Angle for this match after last week when Mickey took the beat down from Absolution, and Alexa saying that she doesn't like the newbies walking around acting like they own the place, so she requested the match as well. Good little match. Mandy Rose ends up picking up the win by defeating Mickie James, and then the beatdown, of course, continues after the match is done as well. Then we had everybody's favorite, the true WWE Walk with Elias. Elias in concert, giving us another song, this one entitled Elimination Chamber Blues. Elias has just been fantastic, captivating. In fact, every single week, this man's popularity is growing by the second. Such a great performer. Loving to see what he does. But lo and behold, then Braun Strowman is introduced, and he's sat down with a very large bass at the top of the ramp, and he starts to sing. And man, Braun Strowman surprisingly had a pretty decent voice for what it's worth while he was performing this piece. I thought it was quite entertaining for that. Braun then finally finishes up doing what he was doing. Then he comes on down to attack Elias because he's got nothing left to do after he broke the strings of the bass already. A beatdown of Elias happens in the ring, and as Elias then tries to crawl away up the ramp, Braun comes with that big giant bass, and we knew it was coming, and smashes it across Elias's back. We had to have that big moment. Anytime Braun Strowman's there, it's got to be a big moment. They got to keep thinking of ways for him to destroy his opponents like this. Great to see, though. Next up, Sheamus versus Roman Reigns. Very great competitive match between these two. Aside from pride and stuff like that, nothing really overly on the line in this particular match. Roman Reigns picking up the win with that mid-air spear that he hit. But, excellent performance by both guys. Good to see. Next, they would announce that Ivory was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. So Ivory joining the class of 2018's Hall of Fame. So congratulations to her. And finally, the main event of the evening, the Fatal 5-Way. This was a very great competitive match, and I was glad to see that in amongst these, four guys that people know and love, there's Apollo Crews, who, is a very talented individual, but is only just now starting to, maybe click a little bit with the audience, maybe starting to get a little bit of recognition. And he's always been uber talented, and he got this opportunity to mix it up in a Fatal 5-Way, and he put on a performance in there, and he held his own against these guys. And, in some ways, I feel like Apollo comes out a big winner from this match. Even though he didn't win the match, the fact that he put on this great performance along with these other four just proves that there is a lot of talent there that hasn't been tapped into properly yet. And we could be seeing, the start of where Apollo will go in the future. There is great things to come in his future, I do hope, as long as they play their cards right. Anyway, a very interesting ending here. This one ended with a pinfall, but the fact of the matter is both Seth Rollins and Finn Balor both pinned Bray Wyatt at the same time. The count was made, the referee called an end to the match, but we still at this point do not know who the winner is. There is no clear-cut winner, so I'm assuming next week on Raw we're going to get a continuation. My theory on it is that we're going to end up getting a one-on-one Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor to decide that last place inside the Elimination Chamber. That would be all I can think of. Now, I think what a better idea would be is to have Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor at the Elimination Chamber, with the winner then later in the night entering the Elimination Chamber, adding that extra stipulation that those two having to fight that match, whoever wins it is going to be worse for wear as they enter the Elimination Chamber. So it makes it kind of like the Cinderella story, especially if, they find a way to, put Seth into a feud through this and have Finn go on later in the night to the Elimination Chamber. He could be the guy who enters second of all things too, starting off with The Miz, and have Finn run that gauntlet like they did at the Royal Rumble, and it would really put Finn over, especially if he was the last guy standing. This was the last guy that Roman Reigns ultimately beats at the Elimination Chamber. That would really be a good look for Finn and a good way to get him over in a sense. Whether or not that's what they're going to do, I guess, time will tell. I guess we'll find out in 2 weeks at the Elimination Chamber. So once again, folks, let me know what you thought of Raw tonight in the comment section below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and thank you to all my recent subscribers. I saw that there was about 8 new subscribers over the weekend, so many thanks to you, and many thanks to everybody else who has already subscribed to Ring Respect Radio. Much appreciated. Very much. Everything you guys do for me is wonderful, and I appreciate doing this and being able to have my voice heard as well. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate it very much. Anyways, that's going to be it for me for tonight. I will be back again this week, hopefully, tomorrow, Wednesday, whenever I can. We'll see what comes up. Until then, though, it's time to get real or get Munson.